Hi, this is Cheryl Mays from Rise and Shine CF. I am so excited about this author's lane. You know, during this time, everybody is operating in their lane of genius. We have individuals that are trying to help the community to get through this time, trying to give them an opportunity to learn something, to feel something, to just do some self-awareness. And we are all just kind of chipping in and doing what we do. And so thank you, Mr. Cee Jay Besa, for agreeing to appear on the Author's Lane segment.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we are excited. I am so excited to be able to talk to you. So before I tell you where I know CJ from, I'm going to give him an official introduction. So Cee Jay Besa is an inspirational leader. He's in corporate team building, sports motivation, coaching. He has a ministry. And I found out that you sing and you have music out.
I sure do. I started out as a musician. My mission was to serve in the music field, and then my mission shifted and changed, and I started to grow. And when I grew, this is the direction I started to grow into, which is inspirational speaking, transformational leadership, and of course becoming an author and a writer. So I suppose it was always, you know, if you're going to be a writer, if you're a musician, you're a writer anyway. So I think it was already coming this way.
There you go. And you know, it's interesting that that's where you went, because I know that's some of the information that you share in your book. So CJ, you said you are an author, which is another reason why I invited you to join us on the Author's Lane. So your book, Becoming the CEO of Your Life, Secrets to Exposing Your Hidden Potential. It sounds like you were going there just a moment ago about your
That's right. That's right.
And so talk to us about that, because what inspired you for this book?
Well, let me start with the inspiration piece. I went to see an auntie of mine who was on her deathbed in hospital in Dallas. And when I got there, I was going to go over and pray with her about something, about her health. And maybe 200 people that I prayed with, and I carried those prayers, and we were going to pray, and she was going to be healed, and everything was good. And when I walked through the door, I said, I'm here to pray with you. She said, well, you're too late. I said, why? She said, as of 5 o'clock that morning, she had prepared herself to go to the Lord. Wow. But she said, would you still like to pray? I said, yeah, I'd still like to pray. So we prayed. And when we got through praying, she started to speak, and she had a lot of things to say. Mm-hmm. The thing she said was, I always wanted to write a book, but I was always too busy. But if you would ask me now why I don't have a book out, or what I was so busy doing, I wouldn't be able to tell you. The one thing she wanted to do in her life was to write a book. She did contributions to other people's books. Wrote her own book, and she didn't do the one thing that she wanted to do. And 2 weeks from that day, she passed. And I put in my mind right that moment that I had a book in me, and if that book was going to come, then this was the time. So I started writing it, and within those next couple of months, I finished the book.
That's amazing. That was another question. You know, I think when people look at authors, they often wonder, like, how long did it take you to write the book? You know, what is your process for writing? So you said it took you a couple of months.
Yeah. So my process has been, I would say overall, it took me 6 months to put this book together. The process was 1 page a day. Write a page a day, at least determine that you're going to do that. And then whenever you start writing, what happens is the inspiration, kind of like the book starts to write itself. Once writing, as long as you can gather the inspiration to start writing the page, you might end up writing 2 or 3 or 4 pages. So that's how I ended up writing this book in 6 months. I made it a small book of 85, 90 pages long, because I wanted to be the kind of book that I would read, a busy person could read and get some quick nuggets and start moving on them right away. So my process was just establishing what I was going to talk about in the book. And then I spaced out and decided, well, what are the chapters that need to be in the book? And once I had those two things, I decided what it was going to be about and what the chapters were going to be. The rest was easy.
You know, I love that. When I was writing my book, I went through sort of similar process, but you know, our goals were similar. We want something that is easily readable, that a person can read 2, 3, 4 times throughout the course of a year. You know, you could read it on a weekend and you could really grab these nuggets and, you know, move with them immediately. It's just like, let's just take this and run, right?
That's right. That's right. Because, you know, you got those books that are 200 pages long and you keep looking at it. I'm going to read it.
Yeah, right.
But if it's pages long, you can read that book in 2 hours.
Exactly. And it's not that book where you're stuck on chapter 4 for like 6 years.
Yeah, that's right.
So, CJ, now you also talk in your book, we talked about exposing the potential, but you also talked about the mystery of self-mastery.
Yes.
So talk about what does that mean to a reader? What would a reader get from understanding that?
I think the best way to sum it up is to say this. When I was, when I was in elementary, I was very skinny, and people used to call me Skinny Malinky. Skinny Malinky is like they're saying number one, you're skinny, but where I was born, Malinky is like you're a link, so your skinny links tied together, and they used to call me that. And so whenever I was very good at sports, so I was an athlete, and I would go into the into the changing rooms, and when I come out of there of the locker rooms, people would be Skinny Malinky because you got to change, right? and so I would go up there and run, and I was great on the field, but I carried this negative self-judgment because people they can't accept who I just am, and because I started to feel like I was not enough, I started to feel like I was inadequate, I started to feel like something was wrong with me. I ended up quitting the team, and so because I come from a single family home, single family home can just move overnight. My mom just moved overnight. We found ourselves in another area. Now I'm in another school, except that school was right next to the house where we lived. Okay. So now I didn't change in the locker rooms. I could just go to the house and change, and they would just find the field. So the funny thing that happened, it was a 3-month space. Within that 3 months, these guys, because I was really fast and I was a good athlete, they made me the team captain.
Wow.
I was shocked. I said, oh, how did I go from Skinny Malinky over here to team captain in a space of 3 months? And I learned this one thing, that you see, the way you look at yourself sometimes is determined by the people around you. All it takes is to change the people around you, and it changes your entire view of yourself, because we don't start off with a self-perception. We start off with other people's perception of us. And then we eventually build our own perception of who we are. Most of us aren't fortunate enough to have people that recognize that you are helping a person to build who they are. And so when I learned that, I realized, okay, there's a secret to mastering myself. If I love myself, if I believe in myself, if I respect myself, I could go from Skinny Malinky, other people's opinion of me, to team captain, my favored opinion of me, my potential, what I could be if I just believe in me. So what are the tools that you could use to help you believe in yourself? You start to uncover those as you grow, because that was one tool. I was discovering people. There are yes people, and there are no people. So I got myself from the no people and found the yes people.
You know, that is so important that you said that when you talk about surrounding yourself with people that are supportive, people that are encouraging, people that you see that are moving forward. So surrounding yourself with people that go, yes, that dream is great. Yes, you can do it. Because you always have that other side. Those people who are like, who the heck do you think you are?
That's right.
And so let me ask you this. So I have a couple of questions here. Some of them are kind of fun, and some of them will give us more insight into
All
your
right.
ideology about the book here. So,
I'm ready.
okay, good. So as a writer, what would you choose as your mascot, your avatar, or your spirit animal? What would be a representation of you?
It would definitely be a lion. Why a lion? Because, lion of the tribe of Judah. That's number one. What my faith is. My faith is the Christian walk. I believe in the Lord. I believe in Jesus. I believe in everything faith. I believe in God. And so where I was born, we take things seriously as far as your family line, where you come from, those types of things. So I look at that too as my bloodline. The lion of the tribe of Judah being my father, I look at myself as a lion. So that would be my mascot as a writer, because it's inspired from that. It's my story of redemption without it being a story of redemption.
Okay, all right. And so now this is your first book, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so is there going to be a series of books? And if so, are you looking at sort of a trilogy where you're focusing on the same concept, or are you going into something totally different, like a mystery or?
Well, it's interesting that you asked me that. I wrote 2 other books before I put out this book.
Okay.
And those 2 books, even though they were great books, they didn't speak to what I wanted to speak to. What I feel like 100 years from now, if people would find me and want to read something about me, it didn't represent that.
Okay.
But like the one thing, so I never put them out. I wrote them, finished them, never put them out. But I wrote this book and put it out because this book has so much that I want to share, which I believe doesn't just help people in this generation, but in the next generation. This is one of the things where I think Dr. Miles Monroe says an idea that has reached its time will never die. In other words, this idea of self-mastery and exposing your potential is an idea that's going to be around as long as life is around. So if I'm going to put out any more books, it's going to be books that help a person to grow themselves, to grow who they are, to become much, much more than what they believe they are. And maybe to add to that, one of the reasons I wrote this book is because when I started out in the United States of America, I was working as a valet, earning $2 an hour.
Okay.
When I was earning $2 an hour, I thought that, well, I'm in the United States, I'm earning $2 an hour, I got an apartment on my own now, I got a car to drive. I thought, man, hey, I done made it. Where I coming from where I'm from, hey, you made it, right?
Uh-huh.
Except that there was more in me than that person that I was. I didn't realize that there was a me in me that would sell, thousands of copies of musical CDs.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that there would be a me that would sell thousands of copies on Amazon of my book. I didn't realize that there was a me in me that would inspire companies and sports teams and different organizations and help them to become empowered and pay me hundreds of thousands of dollars for it. I didn't realize that me was in me. That me was always in me. I had to just challenge myself and see that I was beyond the $2 an hour, that I was beyond the home court, that I was beyond, that was the epitome. But when I challenged myself, I realized there was more to me. So in other words, I think what I'm trying to say is, if you don't know that you have potential, you'll never try to reach it. And this book helps you to see what's your potential and what do you need to do to try to reach it.
I think that is so important, because I always tell people that there's a champion in each of us. We just have to unleash that champion.
That's right. That's right.
So now, CJ, tell me this. What is it that you want the readers to walk away with after they've read Becoming the CEO of Your Life?
I think the most important thing in light of what's going on right now with the COVID-19 and everything else that's happening, I think one of the most important thing about this book is it helps you to see beyond where you are right now.
Mhm.
They know that, you know, people, when they're in old people's homes, the people that live whenever they move to an old people's home are the people that have something to live for. In other words, they have a vision. They have, they recognize their potential. They don't think that their life is over from the minute they walk in. You know, they're still going. What this book does is it helps you, number one, to see yourself correctly, to see that there is more to you than what you see right now. And then it helps you to say, what steps can I actually take in order for me to become what I need to become? And then it asks you the questions that you need to be asking yourself in order for you to actually take the steps. So I'll give you an example. One of the things that I talk about is what you believe about you. And what you believe about you drives your behavior. In other words, I believe that this interview we're doing will help me to reach an audience. If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be doing this interview. I believe that this hat looks nice on me. If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't wear it. Everything that I do is based on what I believe. So what this book talks about is, okay, what is it that you believe? Let's take money. What do you believe about money? When did you first believe what you believe about money? Ever since you believed what you believe about money, have you researched to see beyond what you believe if it's accurate? Is it true? Ever since you believe that about money, has your belief about money accumulated money for you? Okay. If it hasn't accumulated enough money for you, if your view of money is incorrect, what are you doing to correct that view? What if your view is wrong? If you continue to believe what you believe about money now, in 10 years, judging from where you are now, do you believe that you'll make the money that you need? See, asking you those questions is going to help you realize, okay, where you are now, even if you're earning $100,000 a year, if that's all you believe about you, that's it. That's the limit for you. But if you gain new beliefs, new understanding, and begin to educate yourself in books like these, what's going to happen is you're going to challenge your own belief. You're going to challenge your own potential, and you're going to push yourself to go forward and see that there is much, much more to you than what you believe right now.
You know, I think that is so important because a lot of times people put limitations on themselves, and sometimes it's based from what you hear people say about you and
Yep.
what you accept. You know, I always say be careful what you digest,
That's right.
because then you start to feed on it internally, and it stops you from externally moving in any direction. So you're just
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, like Skinny Malinky. Skinny Malinky gave up the school team and he quit. That wasn't because of him. That was because of what other people said. And so you have that voice of negative self-judgment. You take that on upon yourself, and you don't realize that you still carry that 25 years from now. I realize that now. I'll give you an example. When you walk into a meeting or a network, here's what happens. You walk into that group, and most people will find someone that looks like them. Now, there'll be 4 or 5 different groups of people.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm brown, if I'm white, I'm going to find someone who looks like me, same hair color, same eye, everything. Anyone that kind of looks like me, I'll find that person to network with first. You know what that is? That's a belief about something. Mm-hmm. You believe you can only get on with these kind of people or that kind of people. That started off in high school because, you know, how we got the dopes in high school. We had the pretty girls, we had the nasty girls, the jocks. You know how that happened?
The sports people.
Yeah. People believed something about themselves, so they teamed up with who they kind of, you know, we marginalize ourselves based on what we think we are or who we think we are. So my friend, one of my closest friends, his name is Stretch. Guess what? Guess why his name is Stretch? He's skinny and he's tall. So everybody called him Stretch. And what was my name? Skinny Malinky. So if I'm gonna hang out with someone, I found Stretch to hang out. Now, is it a coincidence that I would hang out with Stretch and we both happen to have self-esteem issues? Our look. So here's what happens. If you believe that about yourself, you close yourself into a world where if you see someone who's opposite you, you're not going to talk to them. You're not comfortable. So here's how you challenge yourself. I walk into a room where there's black folks, white folks, Indian folks. I will find the most opposite of me. because the regular me just wants to find brown folks or black folks or regular minority folks. But the me that wants to grow beyond my potential will find everybody else. And guess what? I have found that when I listen to them and open my mind to their ideas, their map of the world is so different from my map of the world. And my map of the world grew because of their map of the world. That's me growing. A lot of people wouldn't choose to grow like that. They don't know that they even have that in them. It's a belief that started a long time ago.
You know, this is so interesting. Listen, you've got to get this book. You've got to get this book. Becoming the CEO of Your Life, Secrets to Exposing Your Hidden Potential by Mr. Cee Jay Besa.
That's right.
CJ, thank you so much for spending this time with us and just sharing the heart that came behind this book.
Thank you so
You know, we all sell books, right? And we're in it to sell books, but it starts from a place of genuine. It starts
That's
from a place of genuinity where you literally want to help someone get to another place.
That's right.
So, CJ, tell us, where can we find this book?
So this book now is on Amazon.com. And I know that I'll provide a link for our viewers to be able to get to it. And it's gonna be on Audible.com. I would be a hypocrite if it wasn't on Audible.com, because a lot of my books I get them from Audible.com. So I read through the book myself. It took 10 hours of just reading through the book and recording it and stopping and starting again. And finally we completed it. It's gonna be on Audible.com. And eventually we're gonna get it into Barnes and Nobles and other places where you can go in and just buy it physically. But yeah, we're wishing to have it online more.
Awesome. And so if someone wants to follow you now that they've met you and they said, hey, that's a guy that I can connect with. I want to hear more from him. I want to know when he's in town or anything like that. Where can individuals find you on Facebook or social media?
On social media, my Facebook handle is just spelled out CeeJaybesa, and all my Twitter handle, everything of mine is just ceejaybesa.com. You just have to spell it all out, CeeJaybesa. Actually, my website is cjbesalive.com, live.com. So I'll be more than happy to hear back from anybody who wants to just grow and wants to learn. I'm more than happy to connect with anyone in our audience.
Well, thank you so very, very much. Listen, guys, the book is available on Amazon. It is coming to Barnes and Nobles and other places where it can be distributed. So if you stay in touch with CJ, then I know he will let you know how you can get a hold of the book. And the other piece that I always share with readers is the importance of writing a review for an author.
That's right.
You know, that is something that as authors we look for, because it helps us, number one, to know that we're doing a great job and people are actually getting what we put out there in the manner that we want them to understand it and receive it. And it also helps, you know, as a small business, because most authors are also small businesses or businesses, you know, of some size, you know, depending on what it is that you're doing. We always branch out into other things, but it gives you ability to use these in marketing as testimonials and, you know, just to kind of get a feel for what people are thinking and saying. So how do you feel about reviews for your work?
Reviews are huge, and I'll give you a story that can help with the illustration. See, if you're sitting on a plane and we're traveling to another place together, and you don't know me and I don't know you, or we just met, and I own a restaurant, if I say to you, hey, there's a restaurant and it's a great restaurant and it's beautiful, me and my family go there, we love the food, and we sell that to you, when you get to that city, probably the likely thing that you would do is go to that restaurant based on my recommendation. And if I said the same thing, and then after I said everything else to you and sold you on the restaurant, and then I told you that I was the owner of the restaurant, another thing is gonna happen. You're gonna say, well, see, there's bias because it's your own restaurant. So you might not go to that one. You see what I'm saying? So if I'm saying to you that it's great, yeah, you know, that's your own restaurant. you're biased. Like when somebody else says it about the restaurant, you want to go to that restaurant. That's the same thing about the book. If you read my book and you love it and you say to other people, look, I learned so much from this book, based on your word, that book is able to sell to other people. And that's huge. If it helps you, I want it to help other people. And that's why it's important for a review. So why I'm saying all that, please go in and review after you done the book.
Absolutely. I hear you on that one. So thank you so much again, Cee Jay Besa, author of Becoming the CEO of Your Life. Thank you for joining us. Guys, go out, get the book, write the review, follow CJ on Facebook, on his social media that he gave you. We will also put that into the comment sections of this. And thank you again for joining us for this segment of the Author's Lane. Look forward to bringing additional authors to you as we continue daily. So have a fabulous day. And remember, reading is fun and it does so much for you. So continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a blessed day now.